Hey, what's happening? Welcome to Mates TV. So normally I don't revisit old videos because look, football's fluid, isn't it? So fluid. So many things can happen, which mean that basically everything you say is wildly wrong. But as part of Sky Bet Unwrapped, a special campaign they got running over the Christmas period where they're giving away offers and free bets and all that kind of stuff, I've been asked to go back and look at the predictions I made all the way back in July on the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey. Yeah, I was called into a room, told to sit down and predict how Liverpool's season was going to go, and I've not looked at that since. We'll check that in a second. I'm also going to be going back through the video I did just before the season kicked off to see how close I've been, and I'll be honest, it's interesting. Right, here's what I said on the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey. Hey, what's happening? So yes, the new season is very nearly upon us, and with it comes fresh optimism for Liverpool fans because, well, let's be honest, last season was an absolute car crash, so surely things can only get better for Jurgen Klopp's mighty Reds. What Klopp's main mission has been this summer is to continue the rebuild that started last year, mainly focusing on the midfield, and look at the pieces that he's brought in. Dominic Szoboszlai, one of the hottest young talents from Europe, and a World Cup winner in Alexis McAllister, Premier League experienced and proven to add into what Liverpool have already got as well. Some really young promising talent, Stefan Bajcetic, Curtis Jones finally seemingly overcoming his injury problems, Harvey Elliott, and of course we've still got the stalwarts, the guys who've been there, done it and won everything. Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson Becker, and so yeah, plenty of reasons to think that Liverpool will get back into the top four, back into the challenge for major honours, and you know, with a little trip potentially at the end of the season to Dublin with the Europa League in mind. Why wouldn't we think that Liverpool are going to get back to being a major competitive force? We've got the best manager on the planet, we've got some of the best players on the planet, and we know how to do it. And let's be honest, we've got the best fans and the best songs as well. So all put that together again, and hopefully Liverpool can be the force that we all know they can be again. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Does it get better than that? Does a little bit actually, because you know what? Just want to say congratulations to you, because if you get football content from anywhere, can't you? You know, there's 1,000 YouTube channels now. Obviously, I was the first, but there's 1,000 YouTube channels now, all giving their opinions and sometimes giving a bit of analysis. And it means there's tons of stuff flying around. So you could go to anyone for this kind of stuff, but you've chosen to come to me. Congratulations, because my predictions. I'm not going to say I know ball, because that's a very American expression. It sounds weird coming out of Scouse mouths, but I'm reasonably pleased. So what I've done, I've gone back, I've taken extensive notes. I'm going to read through some of them. I'll drop some clips in as well, just as proof that I did say these things. And you can always check out the old video as well. But I'm going to kick things off. I said my thoughts on Manchester City were as thus: thinking that Manchester City are not going to be the best team in this league is the shortest route to madness. Honestly, as the crow flies, if madness is there and you want to get there as quickly as possible, try to create storylines in your head that say Man City aren't going to be a dominant force and aren't going to basically get at least 90 points or thereabouts in the league this season. So far, so good. I mean, at the moment, they're not flying. It'll be interesting to see how the top of the table looks by the time the Club World Cup's gone and everyone's had their Christmas turkey and they're back into the mix of things. It will be interesting to see whether they just start picking up that run of wins that we know they all can to devastate our happiness in the new year. But I still stand by the idea that I think they've lost goals. The Gundogan thing and the Mahrez thing. Gundogan was a decision, which was a stupid decision, and it screams not replacing Vincent Kompany to me, and that was a season when they didn't win the league that followed on from that. And Mahrez was a decision that was forced upon them and they had to live with. Okay, so fine. I'm reasonably fine. Okay, look, City will probably just win the league still because they're the most sort of equipped to do it, I reckon. But it's interesting to see them not necessarily having it all their way so far. I described Arsenal as most likely challengers. And I also said that I thought that David Raya was better than Ramsdale. Raya's a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. So, if he gets himself into the team, and I think Ramsdale will be given a chance to hang himself, he'll get a chance to go in there. Right. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You're not perfect. You're wonderful. You're a great person, better than you think, but you're not perfect. Nobody is. apart from maybe Dominic Szoboszlai. I think Chelsea have got the raw materials there. This whole Caicedo, Lavia stuff, who knows how that's going to sit, and that might be a deciding factor in all this, by the way. Nkunku being out for 4 months is damaging to their prospects. I think he was going to be the real transformative effect in their attack. Jackson looks good, looks like he'll score goals. So I don't know on Chelsea, but I think they're likely. Pochettino's such a good manager, they'll probably be a top 4 team. I did say I felt that Chelsea would be a top 4 team. I feel that significantly less now. Significantly less. They're a mess. They're a real mess. I still think Pochettino's a great manager. We now know they've gotten through in the League Cup as well, which will give them something else to sort of get the teeth into. And Nkunku being back means they might kick on, but it's a long old way back at the moment. Spurs I described as wild, free, and a crapper version of Liverpool. Yeah, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. We can all agree on that, right? Still having good fun. I don't think I had them as being particularly likely to be in the top 4, but get on my dark horse shouts for top 4. Sorry, I think Villa will be another one of those dark horses. Whether they've got enough squad depth to compete in Europe, which they absolutely will. They're probably my tip for the Conference League this year, just because of the manager. Why not? You know, if you're gonna chuck a few quid on a Conference League winner, you could do well worse than back a manager who's just got incredible European pedigree. So yeah, Villa are another little outside dark horse. And I described Manchester United as a basket case of a football club, which continues unabated. Still, the Manx. I'll sit here and tell you what's wrong with them. They're a basket case of a football club. They've had the ownership thing hanging over their head for a while. The fans don't really know how to support the team anymore because success is so ingrained in them that they can't see the wood for the trees a lot of the time. I think Ten Hag's a good coach. I'm not sure he's the 3rd best manager in the league. If Højlund's it, that's a big ask for a young player who scored 9 Serie A goals last season. Still, mercifully, wonderfully, and as much as their spirits have been buoyed in recent times by getting a huge, historic, famous draw at Anfield, it still remains to be seen whether they can actually get better. It feels like more of a stay of execution than the building blocks for better things at that football club. They've got no money. They haven't really got a settled ownership now, even less so than normal. They've still got players that the manager's fallen out with. They've got underperforming stars, and they've got a bunch of guys who simply aren't good enough to wear that football shirt. And as a lifelong Liverpool fan, I'm not upset about those things, but there are standards at certain top football clubs, and Manchester United have been woefully lacking in those since Alex Ferguson left, and it doesn't look like Ten Hag's going to be the guy to turn them around. So that's the sort of general gist on that. I did think that Everton were going to be lots worse. It's weird that I'm not sure they'd be this good if they hadn't had the 10-point deduction. I think that's fair. Is it fair to say that, do you think? It's had a galvanising effect for sure, and it'll be interesting to see whether they can continue that or will that run out of steam eventually. But Sean Dyche is going really good. I really thought this was going to be Everton's season to go down, and now I'm entirely convinced that they won't. I actually think they might finish. I think they're going to finish mid-table, and I think there'll probably be a world where someone will be doing the mathematics and saying, if we had those 10 points, we'd be in Europe. And that's going to be a real decision point. Is that good enough? And then do they keep Dyche, and is Dyche the right man to keep? But that's a conversation for the end of season video. So yeah, as far as Liverpool goes then, because obviously that's the big one, I feel like they're ahead of schedule. How far ahead remains to be seen, because regardless of how the festive period sort of goes, it's going to be how they handle January and February, because Jurgen Klopp said, and I've been keen to say this for years, the title race doesn't begin until April. As much as you can be out of it now, you can run yourself out of a title race in September. You really can. But you need to put the building blocks in place, the fundamentals to get yourself to the starting blocks, really. Look at Arsenal last season, got to the starting blocks, but they were a mess by the time they got there. And so basically City were primed and ready to go and just took off like a shot. And Arsenal went, ugh, and then collapsed in a big emotional heap on the floor. I think they'll be better prepared for that. I don't know how good this Liverpool team can be. I am so buoyed by the players that they've brought in. I think they've hit a little plateau in sort of November, December, where they've had to grind. And look, they've ground. They have. in that period. So that also bodes very, very well. Lots and lots of stuff kind of gone against them. They obviously not a red card. The Tottenham Hotspur decision, no one had that in the pre-season predictions, right? They've had to come through that adversity and they've come out stronger. AFCON's going to be a huge thing. How do you deal without Mohamed Salah? How do you deal without Wataru Endo for the Asian Cup as well? Do Liverpool need to go into the transfer market to bolster? The answer is probably yes. But are there some stars ready to step up? And there always has been for Liverpool. There's always someone waiting in the wings when you think, oh God, how are they going to deal with this? A hero emerges. And I'm not certain who that is just yet, but we've got the talent there. There's players who are right on the cusp and could have brilliant seasons and kick on from now. So I think my general sense of Liverpool is, I think if they can finish top four and bag a trophy of some description, I think that will be a really good season. But there's a possibility that it could be a legendary season, but it's a little too soon for that. I think they can win the league, but I'm not sure that they will win the league. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section underneath. Yes, there you go. Make sure you check out the Sky Bet Fan Central this Christmas and beyond. And the Sky Bet Fan Tracker has been keeping track of fans' opinions all throughout the season if you want to see how Liverpool fans feel about things, and that's a very good thing to do indeed. Remember, if you want to interact with anything Sky Bet, you need to be 18 plus, and if you get involved with any of their services, make sure you are gamble aware as well. Anyway, drop a like on this, give me your thoughts on anything I've discussed in the comments section underneath, and have a wonderful festive period.